Welcome to Real Estate and Murder, a podcast about real estate and murder.
I am Amy Brockbank.
And I am Sarah Brager. We are both licensed real estate agents in the state of Utah who have a common fascination with true crime.
We are here to tell you stories of murder amongst the real estate community. It might be an agent, it might be a client, it might be an undetected serial killer.
When it comes to real estate crimes, some are predators and some are prey.
We just want to issue a trigger warning. The content of these cases can be difficult to hear from time to time, and please listen with care.
All right, everybody. Hi, Amy.
Hey, Sarah.
Hey, today is actually a really exciting case.
Yeah, I'm excited about today.
Let me back it up one second. Exciting in the sense that we are doing something a little fun and different on this episode, right? Okay, so today we are talking about the murder, I'm going to say the disappearance and murder of Rosemary Christensen.
Okay.
She was a real estate agent down in Florida. And what we're doing different with this case is today is going to be one entire Surprise Amy segment.
I love it. I'm
Right?
so excited. We did kind of a surprise Sarah with Ann Nelson.
Yep.
And so
we're doing this one as the Surprise Amy segment.
yeah.
We had a busy week, both of us, and I had a bunch of exciting notes and things I wanted to talk about, and I compiled them all, and we just decided, let's try it this way and see how it goes.
Yeah, Sarah jumped on the research this week and opted not to sleep, really.
I really didn't. I did not get much sleep at all. This was one of those cases where you start with the information that you think you know,
Yeah.
and then you end up in a totally different place.
I love those.
It was definitely fun. All right. So before we jump into this, though, Amy, tell me what you did in real estate this week.
It's busy, right? You're busy. We're all busy.
Yeah.
But this week was actually really fun. I had a couple things happen where I had these cute clients that have been trying to get pre-approved for a while, and they've just hit some roadblocks. And one of their biggest ones, we were able to do a workaround with. And so I'm super excited. So it helps when you're choosing a lender, to just understand where the issue is and maybe to strategize and try different things. And anyway, I'm excited for them.
That is super exciting when someone who's worked so hard to get to the point that they can become a homeowner finally gets to that moment where they can.
Yeah.
It is really exciting. And let's just say that coming up against some roadblocks in the pre-approval process is normal.
Yeah.
Right? I think
totally
sometimes our consumers and our clients have a looming fear or a doom feeling about, I'm not going to be able to be pre-approved. I'm never going to be able to get a mortgage. I mean, I've had clients say that outright to me. I'm never going to be able to do it. I have this on my record or my record. That's what we should call credit reports, everybody, is a record. I have this or I have that, and it's just never going to happen. And so many times with the right strategist, like you said, you can help someone overcome those roadblocks.
Yeah. Yeah. And these particular clients were thinking it was going to take a couple years for them to get around it. And really, it's going to take maybe 6 months.
That's amazing.
Which years versus 6 months is
huge.
Huge. So they're so excited.
It's huge in terms of their life quality, but also just in the flat out investment of real estate.
Yeah.
Right? They're getting a few years ahead of being able to use their home ownership as an investment that will endure for as long. Yeah. So that's amazing. But the right agent, the right lender, the right strategy put together, it can be done.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this week in real estate, I helped another client get prepared for their listing.
Yes.
They're listing their home. So a part of the services that I offer with my clients is to help prep their house and get it ready to go. So, and that can include anything from power washing the outside of the house, helping them move boxes, staging their home for photos and for home showings. So I love doing that part of my job, helping somebody get excited about seeing their home sell and transform.
Well, and I was thinking about this week, is that it's not a one size fits all for our clients.
No,
neither one of
never.
us are a one size fits all agent, because what one client needs, another client, that doesn't work for, or that isn't even in their list of wants.
Yeah, you're right.
So I think you're really great at customizing whatever your client needs you to be for them.
Aw,
And I do that for mine too. But
thank you.
anyway, I love that.
I appreciate that. Thank you. All right, well, let's jump in. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so our case this week is going to take place down in Florida. We
I
are
love it.
in Florida.
You guys are built different down there. Like,
I was just going to say, do we even dare?
side note, I know we're derailing really early. I literally just watched a video of a man riding a bike on a bike trail coming up to two huge crocodiles. I don't even, they're massive. And my first instinct is turn around and bike the other way.
100%.
And he just like nudged him with his bike tire and like used his bike as a barrier between him and just like walked. Like there's no, these guys were massive. Like I don't even know. You guys can tell who was from Florida and who isn't based on the comments in this video, because I was like screaming when I was watching it.
Do you want to know what I found out this week? There is a gator TikTok
Really?
dedicated to showing the scariest, most horrific moments
They
of
claim
what I would
fences.
consider my life to
Yeah.
be. Yeah.
No, you guys are built different down there.
Built
Good for you.
different, but infamous for the beaches, the beautiful beaches, and the sun.
Yeah.
So that's where we're going to be. Now, our subject, Rosemary Christensen, she lived in a community called Bel Air.
Yeah.
Not the Bel Air with the Fresh Prince, but the
Yeah.
Bel Air of Florida, which is in the Clearwater, Tampa area, right?
Okay.
So, as always with our episodes, we are going to give you some of the modern day real estate market statistics for the area in which our case takes place.
Yes.
Right? And Amy, that's all you. You've
I
got
did.
those stats this week.
I did. Sarah gave me some brief information about Rosemary that I was allowed to look at. So I wouldn't ruin the story. But Bel Air, Florida. So this is taken from April 2024 stats, and they're mainly taken from Redfin, but there's a lot of other things. Again, call your localized professional because they're going to know the area better than we are. But the median sales price is $635,000. And that's up just slightly, not quite a whole percentage from last year. But the median price per square foot, which I know a lot of clients like really want to know square footage, it works a little different. There's some technical math, and we don't really as professionals use the square footage
we
as
don't
much.
rely on it.
Yeah, exactly. Rely on it as far as that's the only thing that matters.
Yeah, what I mean by that is like we don't rely on it for the overall valuation of the home.
Yes, the sole purpose of
it's an equation that works backwards.
Yes,
is what I always say.
Exactly. Anyway, it is $385 a square foot, which is down almost 11% last year.
Interesting. So the value of the the median home there went up just under 1% from the last year, which is actually a really comfortable and healthy growth rate for appreciation. But the per square foot average has gone down 11%.
Yes. So you're getting like I think you're getting more square footage.
So let's work through this math.
The same amount of money.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that how it?
Yes.
It's early in the morning, you guys. We're recording in the morning. Our brains aren't quite woken up yet, but that's what I'm getting from this.
We got this. We should add not mathematicians to our list of disclaimers,
exactly.
But let's work this backwards. So if there's let's just round it up to 1% increase of appreciation, right? But that's appreciating on a home that was still existing a year ago.
Yes.
And has not changed in square footage. So say your average home in Bel Air is 2,000 square feet. I'm just throwing that number out there. I don't know. That price point for your average square foot, right?
Yeah.
Is going to decrease as your appreciation increases, right? Because your square footage remained the same, but the appreciation's going up.
Yeah.
That's why I say it's a backwards equation. it's not that it's not valuable information, but it doesn't necessarily determine the final value of someone's home.
Yeah.
Because it varies.
A lot of people just think like, okay, my home is this many square feet, so that means it's valued at this. And it's not.
They don't always correlate.
Yeah, they don't. So anyway, the average home sells after 77 days on the market, and it sells 4% below list price.
Interesting.
So yeah. And the hot homes, which we had talked about, those are your Pinterest ready, your designer looking,
right?
Move in, beautiful furniture, just everything's exactly how the homeowner wants. Those go under contract pretty quickly within 18 days, but they're still about 1% below list price.
Interesting.
So the market is pretty leveled.
Yeah, that's a pretty healthy, balanced market.
So it's not necessarily like a buyer's or seller's market. It's just kind of leveled. Although there's other factors that consist of buyer and seller markets.
Of course.
It's inventory.
That's a really healthy balance.
Yeah. So there's a lot of people that are moving into Bel Air. Florida is pretty popular right now. And the top 3 from the list are coming from New York, Washington, D.C., and Chicago, Illinois.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there's your stats for you.
I do think I heard in some of the material that I was using for this week's research that there is like one of the nation's renowned golf courses in Bel Air.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like it's this beautiful. So you're close to a beach. There's also this really like lush greenery also. So, and I just saw like a quick snapshot of it. It looked really pretty, but this is a nice community.
Yeah, when I think fancy, I think like Pebble Beach, but maybe it's Pebble Beach-esque golf course.
I know nothing about golf.
I very little.
Absolutely nothing. But maybe it's relevant to somebody.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Well, I'm going to jump in with the bio, a little bit of a background about Rosemary Christensen. And when I say little, I mean little, because there isn't a whole lot of information about her early life.
Okay.
Part of that might be because she was born in Australia, right? So, yeah, I know. I love that
Australians are also built different. They have things down there that will, seriously.
They have some spiders that are the size of your dog.
Yeah. No, it's
a lot.
You guys are amazing.
So she was born on September 1st, 1955 in Australia. When she was in her early to mid 20s, I believe, from the sources that I was listening to, but I don't have a date, right? She met and married a diplomat.
Okay.
Who was an ambassador of the Netherlands.
Oh.
So she got herself a good one.
Yeah.
And she jumped into a world immediately of sort of a political performance role as the wife, right? And that's noted. A lot of her friends mention in the interviews that they do that while she loved a lot of aspects of it, like she got to travel and she got to meet a lot of new people and she was very friendly and could create relationships very quickly, she also got a little tired of the performance aspect of it.
Yeah.
So, but early on in their marriage, they moved to Cairo, Egypt.
Okay.
And they travel the whole world. So she's very well versed. She's world traveled. They have 2 sons, and her and the ambassador end up divorcing.
Okay.
It is a little unclear to me if she met her next husband, who's named Robert, while she was still married or post-divorce, because most of the material that I read and listened to said that they met while she was still married and then she decided to divorce and change her life drastically. One source said it was after the divorce. Regardless, that doesn't really matter to her storyline. But one thing I do know, and I'll bring it up again a little bit later, is there was a lot of variances in the data of this case. And I don't know if that's in part because it was so long ago or that just information came out at different points as it was being reported, because her case was highly reported at the time that it happened. But either way, she meets a man online named Robert.
Well, let me ask you this, because I don't know, but it seems like if you are in that world where you're having to travel, where you're having to watch what you say because your husband is a diplomat, so if you form an opinion on something, people may or may not assume that that's his official opinion or whatever. I would think that would be very exhausting to
Oh,
have to
absolutely.
maintain a certain appearance and certain, it's almost
Persona.
like you're masked from
Yeah.
what, or, just have to be careful. And so I think if you're seeing someone who offers a different way where you can just be yourself, that might be very enticing to just be like, oh, you're right. Like, I don't have to live like this, or I don't have to, I don't know.
That's a fantastic insight. That makes so much sense in the evolution of this story. That was brilliant. So she moves to sunny Florida. She moves to the Clearwater, Tampa area, eventually settles in Bel Air. And she becomes a real estate agent pretty quickly. She becomes an agent in 1997.
Okay.
And she went to work for the very well-known brand Century 21.
Okay.
Rosemary lost her life on August 16th. I'm sorry, that is not right. I have 16th written in my notes, but it is the 26th. So good catch. I was tired last night. She lost her life on August 26th, 1999, and she was 43 years old. So that is pretty much the extent of what we know up until the time of her death. So I do just want to make note as I get into telling the story, there are a lot of variances in the data and the storytelling of this case. Also, this episode makes a few mentions of some more adult content,
Okay.
which are relevant to the storyline. So if you are around children or your innocent elderly grandparents, you probably shouldn't be. Or go for it. It's your life, whatever. Just know you're probably going to have some explaining to do. So, all right, let's jump in. Amy, I'm actually going to start our story on September 3rd, 2008.
Okay.
So this is 9
years.
years after Rosemary's death. A woman in Seattle named Leslie Stewart takes a deep breath, picks up her phone, and calls criminal defense attorney Jay Erbert in Florida. She introduces herself and asks, "Do you remember me?" And Jay is here in several of the interviews, and he says it took him a good minute to remember her name and who she was. But as soon as he remembered, he knew that things were about to take a drastic turn.
I'm dying. Pins and needles. Who is she?
Amy, this story is going to just blow you away. All right, so let's dial it back. Let's go back to the 90s, okay? Chat rooms are becoming more and more popular, right? And Rosemary starts to explore in the online world. She lives in Holland at this point, and she's meeting people on the internet, and she meets a living, breathing human dumpster named Robert Temple. So as they're getting to know each other, she tells him right up front that she was married to a diplomat, and she had this, grand lifestyle, and he doesn't believe her. So he decides, according to him, he's going to make up his own story too. He tells Rosemary.
Come on, this isn't real.
Here we go. He tells Rosemary that he was a secret FBI agent and that he owned homes all over the country. Now, let's think this through critically. Let's just step back. If you meet someone on the internet who tells you that they're a secret FBI agent, they are not.
Yeah.
Guaranteed they are not.
Yeah, you're not allowed to talk about it.
Yeah, also, that's not how a secret works.
Yeah. Don't tell anybody, but I'm putting this
right
on the World Wide Web.
First red flag. Okay? And make note of that, because that is not the end of the ridiculousness that this man puts people through in his life.
So she's being very genuine and truthful in her. I guess this is like the first dating site kind of were the chat rooms.
That's true. So she was being honest. He convinces her to come meet him in the U.S. and she flies to Chicago. Robert discovers that she's been truthful the entire time, and she discovers that he has not. But for some reason, I guess she's into that. She's all right with it. She decides to pursue this relationship. Now, apparently, Robert, in some of these sources, is referred to as a motorcycle man with tattoos. So he was
very different lifestyle.
Very different. He's what is referenced sometimes in some material as a biker, which I take offense to because I do not want someone like that noted as a biker in a biker community. But the point is, drastically different lifestyle.
So let me ask you just a question.
Do it.
Because we've all dated people that we knew deep down was not that great, but you have to go through like a bad boy
Exactly.
cycle or something to realize like, oh, that's not what I want.
Absolutely.
So because she was in this other lifestyle, do you think maybe she was
Yeah, I
experiencing
do.
this Americanized bad boy? I don't know.
100%. She's in her 40s, right? Her early 40s. She's lived that lifestyle her entire life, or her adult life, I should say. And yeah, this is new and exciting and different for sure. So she decides that she's going to move to the United States and be with Robert. So quick anecdote, just funny, funny story. And one of the documentaries or retellings of the stories that I watched, Rosemary's exiting the airport and she's pulling a big suitcase behind her. And
Does she have her kids?
no, I will get to that.
Okay.
She's dragging her big suitcase behind her, and Robert pulls up to the airport on his motorcycle. And you see Rosemary, the reenactment actor, of course, put on a helmet and gets on the motorcycle, and they take off.
Without her luggage?
Exactly, Amy. I busted up laughing immediately because I know you're not loading that suitcase on a motorcycle. I know that for a fact. I've traveled on my motorcycle 1,700 miles within a couple of days. You can't pack a suitcase on there. You can get a few bags, but it just made me giggle a little bit. She apparently started such a new life. She didn't even take her luggage.
Hopefully, if that was true and he really did show up in a motorcycle, she would have just said, like, I'm taking a cab with my stuff.
For sure.
I don't know.
There is just a bunch of really silly reenactments that tell this story. So it was a little lighthearted. I guess that's why.
Okay.
So her two sons are not with her. They are in their mid to late teens, and they are enrolled in schools back in Holland that they need to complete there. However,
well, and they're friends. It's a hard age to move.
It is a very hard age to move, but they come visit her frequently.
Okay.
Yeah. So after only 6 months of dating, Rosemary and Robert get married, and they settle into a condo in Bel Air, Florida.
Okay.
And this condo is paid for by Rosemary. Okay, she buys the condo. Rosemary's friends, who show up in a lot of this interview material, they love Rosemary, and they have stuck by telling her story still to this day. So they are amazing friends.
She's lived a crazy life. She's traveled. She's lived in places that people only vacation maybe
once in a lifetime.
Yeah, really. Yeah. And they're only there for maybe a week or two, and she's just, I love listening to women and people that have been able to do this. So I can see why she would attract so many friends.
Yeah, and
she seems like a genuinely authentic person to herself. So.
Yeah, she was very genuine, and they talk a lot about how wonderful she was. But her friends are baffled by this relationship. They just cannot understand how these such deeply different people are in love, and they just kind of chalk it up to opposites attract. There must be something so special about him that we just don't get. All right.
The bedroom. The bedroom must be very good.
That's got to be it. It's got to be, and that'll come up later. So just important to note that her family and friends are not really thrilled with Robert. Okay?
Yeah. I mean, I could see why.
And you only know a very little.
I only know the fact that he lied.
Look, earlier on, I referenced him as a walking, breathing human dumpster. I stand by that. All right. I'm going to be a little bit more direct in this episode, probably than I have before, because this person is truly a dirty human being. So she jumps right into real estate pretty quickly, and she loves being in real estate. She gets to interact with a lot of people. And oftentimes we interact as agents with people that are coming into our local area from other parts of the country, other parts of the world, especially in Florida. So she loves engaging with people like this. Robert is supportive of her being an agent, but sometimes he's worried about her. So he follows her at night.
Stop.
Just to check on her, right? But
does she know?
Nope.
Oh, so he's a stalker.
Correct.
That's disgusting.
All right. So let's set the stage a little bit about Rosemary's relationships and her work experience, all right? Her boss at Century 21 is a man named Jeff Beggins. And he says that she was excellent at her job. He just loved working with her. Interestingly enough, Jeff Beggin's father was one of the original founders of Century 21.
Oh,
Ever heard of it?
interesting. Yeah.
All right. She has a friend named Kathy McKinnon, and Kathy shows up in a lot of the material that I watched and listened to be interviewed. She talks about how amazing Rosemary was, how dedicated and hardworking she was. She notes that Rosemary actually won several real estate awards, even though she had only been doing real estate for a few years.
Well, of course she had, because she's lived in this lifestyle where you have to be presentable, and she knows what to say. She knows how to be personal. Like, you can tell, like, she would be really great at real estate or something to do with
At captivating an audience.
Yeah.
She was. Kathy is such a fun friend to watch be interviewed, because the second she finds out that Rosemary's missing, she sinks her teeth into Robert and she never lets go.
Oh, good.
She's
for
a good friend.
her.
We also have another friend here named Laurel. Her last name is Zivlosky. I cannot say for sure. It starts with a Z, it ends with an I. I have a lot of respect for Laurel as a friend. Again, she's one of those that sticks with the story up until this day, to tell the story, to share Rosemary's story. But I apologize, Laurel. I do not know how to pronounce your last name.
Mm-hmm.
She is a fellow real estate agent, and she actually met Rosemary at an open house, and they just hit it off, and they became best friends.
Oh.
Right? Laurel is one of those friends that you just want in your life. Everyone needs a Laurel.
Yeah.
All right. So that's a little bit about the few years that she had in Florida as a real estate agent before she passed away. So let's get back to the date of August 26th, 1999. This is the date of Rosemary's disappearance. Okay. And I'm going to reference that date a lot. So remember, August 26th. Her morning starts out, it's just a normal day at the office. She gets to her job. Everyone meets for a group meeting in the mornings, and they talk about their upcoming listings, their deals. They share their stories about the week and what they've learned. It's kind of one of those meetings.
Yeah.
And Rosemary finds out when she gets to the office that she has finalized a sale on one of her properties, and she is just ecstatic about it. She's elated. So she's having a great day, and everybody is really celebrating her.
So when you say finalize, is that like closing, like it's been funded and recorded? And
that's what I assume. So watching the material that referenced it like that, I wasn't quite sure. As a real estate professional, I wasn't quite sure what that meant. But these stories are being told by, journalists and narrators that most likely are not in the real estate profession. And so they were categorizing that in whatever way made sense to them. I'm not sure if that meant her property went under contract or if it closed on the sale.
Yeah.
But either way, she was ecstatic and was just having a great day.
And I know that for us as agents, that it's called clear to close, right? Where the lender's like, we're funding this loan and you can close in 2 days or 3 days or whatever. Like, everybody's on cloud nine during those days. But when it's actually closed and you've been able to hand clients keys, like, everyone's just so excited.
Exactly. So it was definitely one of those, exciting feelings. So it's 1 p.m. in the afternoon. Rosemary has to leave work because she's going to meet with some clients. So on her way out, she is so excited that she's kind of rushing a little bit. And as she gets down into the parking lot to get in her car and leave, she takes a bad fall. She trips. She scrapes her knee.
Oh, no.
And tore her pantyhose. So she's a little bummed out now. That seems irrelevant, but it comes up. Okay? It comes up later.
Florida with pantyhose. She's brave.
Pantyhose at all.
Yeah.
Those things are hard to wear, man.
Yeah. I guess it's the 90s, but still.
That's true. In the afternoon, so at 2 p.m., she meets with some new clients at the Bel Air Beach Resort Motel. And then she takes them on some tours to see homes.
Okay.
So she is with the clients, and Robert starts calling her phone incessantly. And she's very irritated with this. He knows that she's showing homes and shouldn't be bothering her phone. But finally, around 3:30, she answers her phone. She steps away from her clients, right? And they're new clients. So stepping away from a new client to take a phone call.
Yeah, it's so...
You want to avoid
we
doing
all
that.
do. Yeah, we all tried not to do that because we're like, it's so unprofessional.
It is. So she finally steps outside. She takes the quick phone call from Robert. She says, I'm not going to be home for a while. I have 20 homes to show.
That's a lot in a single day.
It
What?
is a lot of homes. I don't know if that was rounded up.
How fast are these guys looking?
I don't know. And it's possible that was, again, just maybe it was an exaggeration. She was like, I have so many homes to show. You got to leave me alone.
Okay, full stop.
Mm-hmm.
How many homes have you been able to show one client in a day?
Honestly, probably 4 to 5.
Yeah, I think the most I've done is like 6. And it was exhausting. My clients were dying.
Yeah, it's really not a quick process to walk through a home that someone is considering buying in and living in for the rest of their lives, right? They take their time, and then there's travel in between.
Yeah.
There is a lot of condos in this community because of the type of community it is, right? It's a beach community. There's golf courses.
20 homes, Sarah.
Well, I'm just saying maybe some of them were in the same building.
Maybe.
Either way, we got a lot of stuff that's going to blow your mind right now. So that
shouldn't be on the list.
File that away in the least important file because we have not scratched the surface. At 5:30 p.m., she finishes her appointment and she sets another appointment with those clients for the next day at 11 a.m. to show some more appointments. Yeah. Oh, to show some more homes.
Yeah.
Rosemary is never seen alive again.
Oh.
All right. So the next morning, she does not show up for her client appointment. And she does not show up at the office to help with the beach party that is scheduled for the next day. So her office, her brokerage, the coworkers that she's got, they're throwing a big beach party. And it's supposedly like a really big, well-known, fun, once in a year beach party, right? It's their big thing. So everyone comes to help. And Rosemary is in charge of making the potato salad. And she had asked to borrow a really large bowl from a coworker because she needed to make a lot of it. Being in charge of the potato salad at a beach party is just right up my alley. Everyone loves her potato salad. She's famous for it, to which I say same. I love a good potato salad. Potato salad is my beach body. That is. The potato salad is mentioned in almost every resource, okay, because it's an integral moment where her friends realize she's not completing a commitment that she made that she would never not complete.
Yeah.
Right? So her friend Kathy, who works with her, thinks that Rosemary must be ditching this day and this responsibility because she and Robert had a fight. She's assuming she secretly knows, Kathy's one of the only people that knows, that she and Robert have had some very nasty fights, verbal, and that it had gotten physical before.
Oh, no way.
And that Rosemary had occasionally stayed home for a couple of days so that people could not see like a bruise or a mark. Yeah. So the next day, we're ready for the party. And Rosemary does not come to the party, and neither does Rob. And Robert would have been her guest, right?
Yeah.
So her friends, Jeff, her boss, they all start to panic right now, and they're calling her, they're trying to reach out, they get no response. So now we're on the next day, Sunday, the 29th, and Kathy is just so concerned. She's got that gut feeling.
Yeah. Is this day 3 of her being missing now?
Yep. So Kathy asks a male coworker to go with her to Rosemary's condo to check on her because she's worried if there's been an encounter that she might need someone to be protective of her. Yeah. So she asks the coworker to go with her. They get to the condo and Rosemary's car is there, and so is Robert's motorcycle. But nobody is answering the door. They can't see anything in the windows. They cannot. There's no Rosemary in sight. So at this point, they call the police to come do a welfare check.
Okay.
Right? The police arrive on scene and they enter the home and they find no one in the home. But Amy, what do they find? Guess what they find in the home?
I have no idea what they find in the home.
They find one entire bedroom with no carpet.
Oh my goodness.
But all the furniture in its place. That's unusual, especially for a real estate agent. They're like, who needs carpet? I'm just going to roll with a cement floor.
Or if you're recarpeting, you don't put all your furniture back in the spots because you're just going to be less suspicious to have all the furniture out.
That's a great point, which her friends know for a fact that this is extremely problematic. because Rosemary had recently recarpeted and redecorated her entire condo.
Oh.
And they had been there to see it with their own eyes.
So
when
they're
Robert
like the
wasn't
brand
there.
new carpet has been taken out.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And there is supposedly like a square of carpet that is missing from another room or somewhere else. But the bedroom has no carpet. So they know this is really, really, really problematic.
Yeah.
Kathy actually finds the phone number of a family member up in Illinois where Robert is from. And so she calls this family member and asks, is Robert there? And the family member says, yes. Why? Kathy says, we can't find Rosemary anywhere. She hasn't shown up for 3 days. Is she with Robert? No, Rosemary's not here. The family member then asks, well, did you look in the trunk of her car? Yeah. Kathy is kind of blown away by the directness of this question and asks, why would you say that?
Also, who puts themselves in the, like, she's like implying that someone had killed her and put her in the back of the car.
Right. So Kathy asks, like, why did you just say that? And the family member goes, well, you know that they've been having problems lately, right? So Kathy is alarmed. They're still there on site. She's informing everyone there of this conversation she has. And 10 minutes later, Robert calls her back. And here comes the performance. All right. Robert, the actor, enters the story.
Well, he's already been known to be a liar.
He's known to be a liar. He's known to be problematic. Kathy knows that they've had violent interactions. She does not like Robert. That is well known. Robert does not like Kathy. That is well known.
Okay, but did they still look in the trunk of the car?
I'm sure they did.
Okay. But that's not part of the story. She's
That is not part
in
of
the
the story.
trunk of this car. Okay.
So Robert starts sobbing into the phone. Kathy, did Rosemary leave me? Did she leave me? Where is she? Did she leave me?
Oh, gosh.
Implying that he has no idea where she could be, right?
Yeah, and they're all thinking she should have left you a long time ago.
Right. Robert says the last time that he saw Rosemary was on Thursday night when he left for his trip to go out of town to Illinois. And that the last time he saw her, she was going off with some people that he had never met. Okay. At this point, a community effort begins to help find her. People are searching her real estate brokerage, her office. Everyone gets very involved. They're actually out there on the streets looking for her, passing out flyers. Jeff Beggins actually hires a private investigator to help, like immediately, because her close friends, Laurel, who was a real estate agent, Kathy, who was a real estate agent, Jeff, who is, from my understanding, probably her broker, because they refer to him as a boss, which in our profession would probably only be
the broker.
They know that this is extremely problematic because they know Robert.
Yeah, I have a question. Maybe you don't have the answer. Was Robert's stuff taken out? Like, did it look like he was only going to be gone for a few days, or did he like move all of his stuff out of the apartment?
Nope, his stuff was still there. You know, he had taken a bag, he had packed a bag, and he was going to visit Illinois to spend a couple of days with his daughter from a different marriage. And that is all I know. The daughter is never mentioned again in any of this story. So Jeff hires a private investigator named Dick Price, and he specializes in missing persons cases. Okay. So the sheriffs join in at this point, and they start, again, a community effort to find Rosemary. Jeff actually puts up a $10,000 reward.
Oh.
I know. So if you are a human being that decides to go missing, go missing from the real estate community, because in the last couple episodes, we've talked about like Mike Emmert. The real estate community raised thousands and thousands of dollars to help find their friend. Yeah. It's a tight community with good relationships, and they just want to do everything they can to help find Rosemary. So again, they now know like Robert's in Illinois, and they also find out that he's not there alone.
Like he's with family members, or he's taken someone with him?
He has taken a traveling companion with him. And it is a 22-year-old woman. Named Leslie Stewart.
You have got to be joking me.
Nope.
Okay, this man.
Mm-hmm. Dumpster.
Yes. He is violent towards his wife. He stalks her. And now he's entangled a poor 22-year-old girl.
You're following. Yep, you're right on track. And
so many bad words for this person.
I know. That's why I said this episode really could be a little bit more direct, right?
Yeah.
Because this particular human being doesn't deserve the delicacy of, of just not being direct with who he was. So he is not only everything you just said, but he's also bold enough to take a girlfriend to visit his family that knows he's still married. Okay. I know. The audacity.
The emoji with the like brain blowing, like that's how I feel.
How you look.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Leslie and Rob really briefly so I can give you a little bit of background on them. And this is like a little bit of the adult content part. So
poor Leslie. She's a victim.
Well, we'll see. We'll see, won't we?
22-year-old.
Leslie and Rob met actually at work. They were both customer service agents for a telephone call center. And would you like to know what the call center specialized in? Phone, sex, and psychics.
Be my guess. Not the psychic part, but the other part, I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be.
Phone, sex, and psychics. So you can get either or.
Either or.
Yep. You can call and you can talk to one or the other. Who knows? I mean,
they have like this 8-ball that they're like, okay, which one are we going to?
It's a little bit.
Your future looks bright.
Yeah. It's unusual, right? But they meet in this environment, which I can only imagine being in a call center and having that type of work environment. There's a lot of like access and potential for people to be inappropriate in the workplace. Let's say it like that.
Yeah, most people. I don't know. I get why the 22-year-old is there. Like, I understand, like, it's an entry-level job. You're just
no
kind
shame.
of like, no, you're
Absolutely
just kind
not.
of like doing this. You're, young, trying out different things, like whatever. I don't understand a grown man.
Maybe he was the psychic.
I don't know. Who is just gross.
Absolutely no shame towards Leslie for choosing, or anyone who works in that industry, because we would assume in theory that they're consenting because they're employees.
Yeah.
So they strike up an affair very quickly. She's attracted to him. Again, apparently he's a bad boy. Although you see him in several interviews, this guy just cannot stop talking about himself. And he's not at all. One word for it. We could tack on a lot of other words and they would all apply. But they meet in this environment. They start having an affair right away. They are having the affair so blatantly that they're even doing it at work. They just don't care who knows.
Well, clearly because he took her home to meet family when he's still married, so he doesn't care.
Bizarre, right?
Also, just, I don't know, so many thoughts. So many thoughts.
Jot them down. You're going to have a lot.
Yeah.
So Rosemary had actually recently found out about this affair. And again, let's just lighten the mood with a quick anecdote from one of these terrible reenactments of the crime. The reenactment actor playing Rosemary walks into their bedroom at home at this condo, pulls back the sheets, and there's a bright red bra in the sheets.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know that it was that blatant that she was just leaving it behind, but either way, Rosemary had recently found out, and she even had went to Leslie's work, to the office, to confront her. She was angry.
Oh.
But she couldn't find Leslie at work. Would you like to know why she couldn't find Leslie at work?
Because Leslie was with Robert somewhere?
Leslie was hiding under her desk.
Oh, shut up.
So that's important because Robert starts to tell the police and her friends and family and stuff that they were in an open relationship. Rosemary knew about this and was okay with it. Well, that little anecdote where Rosemary storms into, rightfully so, into Leslie's workplace looking for her, and Leslie hides under her desk, is proof right then and there it was not an open relationship that Rosemary was consenting to.
I mean, I understand the sting of, realizing your significant other is having an affair. And I only use the word sting because she was married to a dirtbag. Like, there's got to be some part of her that is like, oh, all right, this can be done.
A little bit of relief?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Like her friends were probably, if she told her friends, they were probably like, "Oh, hey, perfect. Let's just,
Right. Like good opportunity.
not that anybody would have judged her for leaving before, but a lot of people are like, oh, that is the one thing that I will not tolerate. You know, that's the hill that they die on.
Yeah. And I can imagine how angry she would have been in that moment, because remember, she gave up her entire lifestyle to move to the United States with Robert.
Yeah, that's true.
He is one of the most selfish beings I think I've ever learned about and listened to. Like, he was willing to, he lied to her on the internet to get her there, gets her to move to Florida to start a new life. She pays for their lifestyle. And
because
he has an affair.
Clearly not that great at being a psychic, or I mean,
it's an uncomfortable situation all around. So let's jump into the investigation part now.
Okay.
All right. So the police search the condo and they find a significant amount of cleaning supplies that look new. They're brand new. And they're actually able to track down a receipt from a nearby Walmart.
Oh my gosh, this is giving Anna Walsh vibes.
All kinds of vibes. We see this all the time for some reason. The receipt total is for $73.51, and it includes the following items. And Amy, I'm going to have you read me these items.
Okay.
Because you're going to die. Maybe we shouldn't say that.
Bleach, a large tote with a wheel.
Yeah, so that's noted. I actually saw an image of the receipt, and it says like LG tote, wheel.
So is it kind of like did you see a picture of it or no?
Yes. I saw a picture because Dick Price, the private investigator, actually brings a tote to one of the interviews to show.
So is it like a cooler tote, or is
kind
it
of,
like,
yeah. It's like one of those really large Rubbermaid totes that you would store stuff in.
Yeah.
And it's got wheels on it.
Because sometimes totes are canvas bags with wheels. Yep. I was trying to envision. Okay. Yep. Okay, perfect. Spray paint. Dissolve it.
Yeah, which is some kind of cleaner. I called dissolve. What? Uh-oh.
Trash bags, Febreze, scrub brush, and duct tape. And then you said, I quit writing at this point.
I did.
What my
that
paper
was enough.
says.
That was enough information.
I mean, it's not as bad as Anna Walsh's, where there's
like a hacksaw,
the hazmat suits, and
but it's pretty damning.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And not only does he buy all of these cleaning supplies the morning after the date of her disappearance, he also pays for it with Rosemary's credit card.
Of course he does.
Right. See where I'm getting at with this guy?
Yeah.
See why I'm not being delicate? All right. The only item that they cannot find at the scene from the receipt is the large tote. Okay.
How large is this tote? What was Rosemary's size?
I'm going to relieve your anxiety right now and tell you that the tote was Rosemary's size. Okay. Robert is still in Illinois at this point, but he agrees.
I hate this.
This is why I knew that this one would be what I referenced at the beginning as exciting or whatever I said, because I knew there were so many surprises in it for you. So Robert agrees to return to Florida for questioning with the police. He's cooperating. He's like, yeah, I'll be right back. Be right there. Let me grab my girlfriend. I'll be right there. So over the next few days, as he's returning, he's coming back from Illinois. He starts to call their condo and leaves constant voicemails for Rosemary. Where are you? Please come back. Like, please call me back. Right. And he's setting the stage for, right. He's trying to make people believe that he doesn't know where she is. Okay. So when he gets back, he meets the police at the condo. They're going to interview him there. And he makes sure that the police see a handwritten note that he says he had left for Rosemary before his trip. Now, they had not, to my understanding, they had not recovered this note before Robert appears back in Florida. So I don't know, can't say one way or the other if he actually did write it for her before he left or if this is a part of the cover up.
I don't know. If I was the police, I'd be taking notes. Premeditation.
Very good point. So in this note, he references that he's going ahead and leaving a little bit early for his trip, that he loves her so much and he will be back on Tuesday. Remember, she goes missing on a Thursday night. Okay.
Yeah. He's great at showing how much he loves her.
Yep. He also specifically he references that the flooring guy says the tile will be put in once all of our paint is done, and that he hopes that she, quote, likes the color this time.
Implying that she ripped out the carpet. It was carpet in the bedroom, not tile, right? So you're going to only tile one bedroom?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So he's implying
he's stupid.
That
no real estate
worse.
agent only rips out all the carpet and decides to tile one bedroom.
Brand new carpet.
Yeah. Like if you're going to tile your whole, I mean, it's Florida. If they're close to the beach, like you're going to retile the whole thing and no carpet, or carpet in the bedrooms and tile down the halls. Like you're not going to have a bedroom just be tiled. Like that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Well, and also like she decorated her condo. She was very proud of it. She showed her girlfriends her condo. She was so proud of it. She was happy with it.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if the reference to I hope you like the color of white this time is like referring to paint or flooring or both.
Well, he's kind of implying that she hated it, so she's the one that ripped it out.
That's the indication. But remember, he bought spray paint. So
yeah, he's so stupid.
And remember, we're in the bedroom. Okay.
Yeah.
So that'll come up later. So at this point, Robert's past is going to be looked into by the police. They've got to investigate this guy because things are sketchy.
Well, they always look at close family first and then work their way out.
Of course.
So.
Yeah. The significant other is always the first stop.
Yeah.
Right. Makes sense. Turns out Robert's not a great guy. Right?
Shocker.
They're about to discover some pretty intense stuff. So, Amy, I need you to take a deep breath before we get into this section.
Okay, I'm so raging
if you
right
think
now.
Your little emoji mind-blowing thing is descriptive so far, you're going to need a different emoji.
Yeah.
July 14th, 1997 in Clearwater, Florida. Police have documentation. They have photos showing Rosemary with blood on her face and her lip, bruises, and a split eye.
Oh, my God.
Robert was arrested for domestic battery, but Rose dropped the charges.
Oh, bless her heart.
Or did not want to press the charges.
Yeah.
And he pleaded no contest to disorderly conduct.
Of course he did.
They married 3 weeks later.
Oh, poor Rosemary.
Robert tells the police some BS story, right? He does the whole Rosemary tripped and fell and hit a doorknob story. Okay. Everyone knows it's crap.
Yeah.
But he has an excuse for she fell, she tripped, she hit the corner of something. I didn't do it, but I just pled no contest because everyone thought I was guilty.
Well, and he probably to her did the disgusting thing like, oh, sorry, I'll never do it again. I love you so much. And that's probably why she dropped the charges, because they're so manipulative that way.
It is. And that is something that her friend Kathy does note in one of her interviews, that he did the whole pleading, begging thing with Rosemary, and she decided to give it a pass this one time.
Yeah.
But that's not all, folks. We got more. So in 1996, just a year before marrying Rose, Robert pled guilty to domestic battery of his previous wife in Decatur, Illinois.
Oh my gosh. So he has a history of...
He has a documented history of domestic abuse. But of course, Robert has a story.
Of course he does, because he has to be the victim.
It was just a misunderstanding, guys. They were on their front porch, and she was about to fall off the porch. So he grabbed her in an effort to save her from falling off, and they actually fell off the porch together, and they both got hurt. And supposedly the mother-in-law witnessed this incident and called the police because she misunderstood that her daughter was being harmed. And it was really just they fell together. That's all.
But if he has a charge, that would mean that his then wife pressed the charges.
Yes.
He doesn't wait very long in between women.
No.
Also.
Well, and we do know with how slow the justice system can be sometimes that it's likely that the 1996.
Well, and if he's skipping states too, that also complicates things.
Sure.
As far as records find.
And in 1996, the incident would have happened previously to that, you know. But that's not all. In 1974, at the age of 24 years old, Robert was convicted of involuntary manslaughter. Don't ask me how. Involuntary manslaughter in the violent death of a girlfriend's 18-month-old child. This sweet baby angel was found in a hotel bathtub with cuts and bruises.
Okay, he should have been given the electric chair right then and there.
Well, but Amy, he has a reason. He has an excuse. Robert says that somebody else killed the child and he took the fall for it. Would you like to know how long he served in prison?
Not long enough.
A whopping 5 years. And he is released from prison in 1979. He's 29 years old.
This is disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
He got 5 years for killing a baby.
Well, I don't know. I do not understand. And there's not a ton of information on this. He was convicted of involuntary manslaughter. I don't know how. And isn't manslaughter considered involuntary anyway? But I don't see how a violent death of a child could be considered involuntary manslaughter. I don't. But it was the 70s. It was 70s. Men served 6 months or a year tops for violent rape. You know, we know that. Like, it seems like almost every serial killer that we come across served time previously at some point too, right?
Yeah.
So
I literally hate him.
All right. Now we're back to current day. All right. That's the criminal history that the police discover.
And was this like, so the police had to kind of dig. So it wasn't like people knew this about him.
I don't believe that any of the friends, including Rosemary, probably knew about the conviction. Well, no, let me take that back. I'm recalling I went through a lot of material for this case. I think Rosemary did know, but the friends are now finding out about this criminal history.
Yeah.
They know about the incident with Rosemary, or at least Kathy knew, possibly Laurel. But yeah, this is all coming out now. So back to modern day, Robert is being interviewed at the condo, and he actually agrees to meet with the media and answer some questions. It's about 1 week after her disappearance. So he comes outside and sits down in a chair holding a flyer of Rosemary. And
that he probably didn't even put together. Probably her friends put it together.
No, he didn't put it together. No. Her friends had already been working this for a week.
Yeah.
So this human trash can, just so you know, has the worst bleached blonde hair I've ever seen in my life. It's awful. He sits down in a chair and brings out his acting skills once again. He starts pathetically attempting to cry and sob. And you can see it. You can see this footage. It's out there.
Oh my gosh.
It's so evidently forced. The police can tell. The media can tell. It's horrible. And one of the reporters that's there decides to just
call him out on it.
Call him out because he's so frustrated with this obvious performance. So he says, "All right, Robert, just tell us, did you have anything to do with Rosemary's disappearance?" And he's sobbing again. "I miss her so bad. I just want her back. Please. I would rather be dead than have anything happen to her." It's pathetic to watch.
Yeah.
So he states again to the media that he saw Rosemary Thursday night around 7 p.m. when she left with people that he didn't know. Okay. So Rose's sons, that's the press conference. Rose's sons actually have flown in to help search for her. They give press conferences. It's heartbreaking to watch. You know, her sons.
Yeah, they're in a country that they don't know. Really, you know, their mom has gone missing.
It's so heartbreaking.
So sad.
It is. So the investigation continues. Rob is questioned again, and he claims that he saw Rosemary again Thursday night when she left with a group of swingers.
Oh, now he's using swingers.
Yep. And he says that they loved that lifestyle. That was a big part of their relationship. there is no evidence out there to prove that this was true. And her friends and family are insulted by this insinuation.
I would be too. I would be so upset about that.
But one of the investigators who is interviewed does note that while they could not find any evidence of Rosemary and Robert having that lifestyle, that Robert and Leslie did. Okay.
Well, yeah, he's got to justify it somehow, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. In one of the sources that I watched, there was a receipt that was produced by a waiter at a club that is known to have like gatherings for swingers.
Yeah.
Okay, so potentially there was a brief moment where he was trying to get Rosemary interested in the lifestyle, or maybe trying to use that lifestyle as an excuse for his affair.
Yeah.
But Rosemary wanted nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
Okay. So police now are finding blood residue at the condo. But of course, Robert has a reason.
Of course.
He says that it's from the fall that Rosemary took at work in the parking lot. He says that she came home and she was bleeding profusely and it got all over the floor, and that he remembers this so specifically because she was so hurt, less by the scrape and the injury to her knee and more by the fact that her colleagues completely ignored her and walked right by. So he had to cut out that square of carpet because there was blood on it from her fall. But her boss, Jeff, blatantly disputes this and says that he personally bandaged Rosemary's knee at the office, and it was a very minor scrape.
I was going to say, if it just scrapes pantyhose and you're able to go show 20 homes, you're not bleeding profusely. That requires like stitches or something more. Like you'd have to delay your showings. You'd have to go and, all of these things. So
his story is that she fell in the parking lot at work, went to
Drove
show home
home.
for hours, got home.
Was still bleeding profusely.
Exactly.
Or did she come home in between the time she left the parking lot and to go show a client?
Could be that after she ripped her pantyhose, she went home to change. But either way, we know it's BS. We know it is. Okay. Kathy actually tells the police that right before Rosemary went missing, they were outside taking a smoke break at work, and Rose asked her outright, "Do you think Rob is plotting to kill me?"
Wow.
Okay, so let's just go over this really quick. If you ever have to ask your friend this, the answer is yes.
Yes.
Okay?
Your gut is telling you something.
Mm-hmm. So in this one...
and she could have easily, not victim blaming, shaming at all, because she had family and a life outside the U.S. She could have easily just escaped him. Like, he sounds like a lowlife that doesn't have any money, that's using her financials, whatever. She could have just upped and left and went, and it's not like she has to worry about him stalking her in Holland or,
Sure.
'cause he would stick out so much.
That's a great point. So there is one of the most accessible documentaries and stories about this case is an episode from the show called Disappeared on ID, Investigation Discovery. And Rob is interviewed, and there's clips of this in this episode, and he's being interviewed from prison. Okay. But it's pre-trial. So he shows up in all of these interviews from here on out at the prison, and they are infuriating. Okay. But he's being interviewed right now, and Rob tells this interviewer that Kathy is an outright liar. He never said that. Kathy is malicious and is just trying to take him out.
So he thinks that he was solely arrested because Rosemary's friend said, "Rosemary asked me if she was going to be murdered." He thinks that that's the only evidence that the police have on him. Is that what he's kind of implying?
He has a long list of people to blame for putting him in there.
Just himself.
Correct.
Just himself.
It's a real short list on the outside.
Yeah. There's nobody but him.
So at this point in the story, Robert and Leslie go consult with an attorney, okay, because they know that Robert's suspect number one. Leslie's deeply tied in, and the attorney actually recommends that they seek separate counsel.
Oh, of course.
Not a good sign, right? The defense attorney that they meet with is like, you guys should have different representation.
Yeah, because he's probably like, you don't want to be attached to him because the next story is going to be Leslie did it.
Right. So enter Jay Herbert, the criminal defense attorney. He consults with Leslie, and he has a long conversation with her, but he is never able at this point to reveal to the police or to the public what their discussion was based on client-attorney privilege.
Yeah.
So he has this long conversation with Leslie, and then he never hears from her again until the day in 2008 when she calls him from Seattle.
Mm.
Okay. So 1 month after Rosemary's disappearance, Robert and Leslie are seen on camera, surveillance camera, and there's footage of this in the episode. Laurel is the one who acquires this footage, okay, because she is assisting Dick, the private investigator.
Yeah.
Like Laurel is a friend. Laurel is your girl. And on this video, Robert and Leslie are packing a moving van, and they take all of the belongings from the condo, including Rosemary's. Okay. And they skip town. They're gone. In May of 2001. So
I mean, that's suspicious anyway, because if he really didn't know where she was and he's like, this is her condo, like I'll just move out. Like, I don't know. You leave her stuff because in theory, like she's supposed to come back.
Great point. And or you leave it to her family and friends. Like, and why would your young 22-year-old girlfriend want to take all of your wife's belongings with you? Like,
yeah, I don't know.
That's why I said he's one of the most selfish human beings I've ever come across.
He clearly knows she's not missing at that point, though. He clearly knows that she's not in a position where she can come back.
That's a great point. So in May of 2001, a psychic calls and tells the police
Is this a psychic that works at the call center? I just need to ask.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. Could be. She calls backwards from the call center. She's charging the police per minute to have this phone call.
Well, or she's a psychic because she worked there and overheard something at the lunch break.
Correct.
I just was asking.
No, but that's exactly my point. So she tells the police that Rosemary is in a local pond, like a body of water. Police divers search, and of course, they find nothing. And the reason why, so that stuck with me a little bit because there are lots and lots of cases out there where we hear this.
Yeah.
That a psychic gets involved and then it leads to nothing. So that begs the question, like, why do police follow those leads?
I think they have to.
Exactly.
I think the family, like, they have to show, like, this lead came in. We didn't ignore it. We thought it was, like, outlandish, whatever, but it was a possibility. So we felt it was credible enough to look into.
That's exactly it. And also, whether the police believe that this person giving them a tip is psychic or not, there's even a possibility that that person is using the cover of being a psychic to give a real tip.
Yeah.
And so police chase every lead, even if it's completely unreasonable.
Yeah. Or they
in their mind.
Yeah.
Because there's a possibility that it's actually real information under the disguise of a psychic encounter.
Yeah.
So at this point, the case goes cold. Okay, we know nothing from here on out. The police say that they have no evidence to arrest Rob, but I don't know how. Like, there's missing carpet. There's a long list of cleaning supplies. There's a lot
of circumstantial.
of violent, criminal history.
But no body.
It's circumstantial, but we've seen people arrested and tried for cases with a lot less circumstantial evidence. So that's a little irritating, but I'm not telling the police how to do their job. They felt like there wasn't enough evidence, or perhaps the DA, prosecutor, whatever, felt that there wasn't enough evidence. Okay. So Rosemary's family and friends they have to sit with themselves and believe that karma is coming, that he will eventually be violent towards Leslie, because he's not going to stop. I mean, that type of behavior is a repeated pattern, typically, right? And so they just have to sit and wait, knowing that someday the day will come. Okay.
Okay.
So, Amy, do we need a breather at this point?
I mean,
Do
there's
you want
a
a break?
lot. Sure.
We're getting into the wild part.
Okay.
You
Yes.
thought we were doing the wild part.
You know what? The baby thing threw me for reals.
It's rough, right? And that's why I wanted to give a little warning at the beginning. Like, there's some adult content mentioned in here, but there's just some very devastating, like heartbreaking, dark aspects of the story as well.
Yeah.
So a breather at this point is a really good point. Let's
Okay.
go shake it off, and we'll be right back to finish
All
up the
right.
story.